So what is quota arrangement? Okay, so a particular material can be procured from different vendors depending upon the requirement. Okay, so it is not that you always procure a material from a single vendor. You want to give your requirement to multiple vendors, okay, at a time. Okay, so that you don't have dependency on a single vendor. Okay, so total requirement of a material is distributed to different vendors. That is, quota is assigned to each source of supply. This is known as quota arrangement. Quota arrangement. That means instead of, let's say you want to procure 100 kg of a material, instead of giving this 100 kg to a single vendor, single supplier, you distribute that 100 quantity to different vendors in some proportion. So that is what called quota arrangement. You don't want to depend on always on a single supplier or a single vendor. So to avoid that, you give the requirement to multiple vendors. So that is handled through this quota arrangement. Okay, via quota arrangement, we can give the quantity and percentage for a vendor. Okay, I will show you this in the system. We can give some particular quantity or even percentage to a vendor. So if we maintain many vendors in the source list, the system will take the correct vendor with comparison of quantity of the document and quota arrangement. That's what it will do. Okay, so basically quota arrangement divides the total requirement of a material among certain sources of supply, that is vendors. So with your quota arrangement, you distribute your quantity to certain certain vendors. That is what called quota arrangement. Okay, so basically in the quota arrangement you give like this. You give the material, you enter the plant, and you enter the vendor and his percentage, his quota percentage. I'll tell you what is this allocated quantity later point of time. I'll tell you in once we go into the quota arrangement, I'll tell you what is this allocated quantity also. Basically, for each vendor, you will give some percentage. Okay, so let's take our case. Okay, in our case, we have four vendors. So let's say for this vendor, I want to give 10%. Okay, first vendor. Now second vendor, let's say I want to give 20%. Okay, now third vendor, I want to give 30%. Okay, I want to give 30%. Now fourth vendor, I want to give 40%. This is what I wanted to do. Let's assume. Okay, so this is a percentage in which I want to divide my requirement to these vendors. Okay, so for this you will be maintaining the quota arrangement. Maintain the quota arrangement like this. Okay, so let's maintain the quota arrangement. Okay, go back. Okay, I'll close all the sessions. It's confusing. Okay, so go to logistics, go to materials management, purchasing. Okay, master data. Okay, you have quota arrangement. Open this. MEQ1, the transaction code is MEQ1. Maintain quota arrangement. You enter the material. Our material is 2578. Okay, enter the material, enter the plant. Now enter. It will take you to the header. First, it will take you to the header. Enter the validity period. Let's say this quota arrangement should be valid till 2 years. Next 2 years from today's date. Okay, I'll maintain it as 22. Till next 2 years from today's date, it will be valid. What is this minimum quantity split? I'll tell you later point of time. Enter. Now select it. On the top there is a button, item. You click on that button, item. Now you will be getting this screen. Okay, this screen. We are here. Okay, we entered the material, we entered the plant, we entered the valid dates. Okay, now you enter the vendors and their quota percentage. Okay, so first I will select procurement as F, external procurement. Okay, now you enter the vendor here. What was my first vendor? I want to give my total 10% of my total requirement to this vendor, 1101. So enter 1101. Okay, enter the percentage. Quota is nothing but 10. 10. The 10 means percentage. Enter. Done. Okay. Now next vendor, select F 1102 1102. I'll enter 20%. Okay, done. Now next vendor, F, okay, 1103. I'll maintain 30 percentage. Enter. Okay, next vendor, F, I'll maintain 1104. I give 40%. Info record for vendor does not exist. Okay, not a problem. That's okay. Okay, so this is how you maintain the quota arrangement. This is how you maintain the quota arrangement. Okay, so now I'll save this quota arrangement as of now. I'll save this. So I saved the quota arrangement. Okay, so now when you go to display, this is my quota arrangement. Select it, go to item. So I want to distribute in this manner. So but system, when you do the source determination in the PR, how system will select the vendor? Okay, so system will select the vendor based on this formula. Okay, so the formula is like this. System will calculate the quota rating. It will calculate the quota rating. Okay, so quota rating will be calculated by this quantity, this formula: quota allocated quantity plus quota base quantity and divided by quota. Quota is nothing but percentage. Okay, quota is nothing but percentage. So using this formula, system will calculate the quota rating. So let me put the formula here. So quota rating. So I'll put directly rating, Q rating. Okay, so system will calculate Q rating based on allocated quantity plus quota base quantity divided by your quota. So this is how system will calculate. So now once system will calculate this rating, which vendor it will select first? It will select vendor with minimum quota rating. Okay, quota rating it will select. Let's say if all vendors have same quota rating, then it will select vendor with, if quota rating is same, vendor with max quota percentage will get selected. So that is what will happen. Okay, so this is how system will select the vendor. Now we will see whether it is working or not. So in our case, if I go to the quota arrangement, in our case allocated quantity is 0, and quota base quantity as of now 0. I'll tell you what is this allocated quantity, what is this base quantity. So all are 0, these two are 0. So in the first vendor, what should be the rating as per the formula? 0 plus 0 divided by quota. Quota is 10%. So what will be the quota rating? Poonam or Vasundhara, what should be the quota rating for first vendor? 0, right? 0 plus 0 divided by 10, it will be 0. Quota rating is 0. Like same for all the vendors, as of now in this case for all the vendors, the quota rating will be 0 because allocated quantity and base quantity is 0. 0 plus 0 divided by these percentages. So obviously everything will be 0. Correct? This is 0 and this is also 0. For all the vendors as of now, quota rating is 0. Correct? Now what is our this thing? First system will try to select the vendor with minimum quota rating. If quota rating is same for all the vendors, then it will select vendor with maximum quota percentage. So now among these vendors, which is having the maximum quota percentage? Vendor 1104. So when I do the source determination, by default system will select this vendor. It will select that vendor. Okay. So now let's do that. Okay. Before that, I'll remove that fixed indicator. Just 1 minute. ME11. Sorry, ME01, right? That source list. ME01. This here, I maintained this as a fixed. I'll remove this. Okay. So now let's, as per this situation, system by default has to select 1104 in the purchase requisition. Now let's test that one. Okay, so go to ME51L. I'm creating a PR, purchase requisition. Okay, enter the material. What was the material, Baba? 2578. Quantity, let's say I want to procure 100 into the plant 1000. Enter. Done. Okay, now activate this checkbox, source determination. Now when I try to do the source of supply, when I try to do the assign source of supply, now you see system by default will select 1104 because we already maintained quota arrangement. So now click on this button, assign source of supply. See, system by default selected 1104. Why? Because based on this criteria. Vendor with minimum quota rating, first it will try to search. If all vendors are having same quota rating, then it will select the vendor with maximum quota percentage. Okay, Poonam, is this working?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that is how it will select the vendor. Okay, that is how system will select the vendor. Okay, now we will discuss on the what do you call allocated quantity. So here in the quota arrangement, if you see, there is an allocated quantity. So what is this allocated quantity? That means for this material and vendor combination, if you create any PO, any purchase order, any purchase requisition, that will be get added here as the allocated quantity. Okay, already existing, already created purchase orders quantities, PR quantities, if at all any you create, after creating this quota arrangement, those will get updated here. So to activate this allocated quantity, first in the material master, you have to activate this quota arrangement usage. For that material, in the material master, in the purchasing data tab, in the purchasing view, you have to activate quota arrangement usage. So when you activate in this quota arrangement usage, you want to use quantities created for purchase order, planned order, purchase requisition, whatever the quantities, those will get updated. Those quantities will automatically get updated as a quota allocated quantity in the quota arrangement, in the your quota arrangement data. Okay, so I'll show you that. First, let's go to the material master. I'll go to the material master, MM02, 2578 is our material. Go to purchasing view, plant is 1000. Now if you scroll down, here you see there is already, it is activated. Quota arrangement usage is activated as 4. It is already maintained for 2578. Okay, so this is maintained. This is what we are discussing now. Quota arrangement usage. Okay, so now in our case, it is already there. Now the moment I save this purchase order, which is, sorry, purchase requisition with quantity 100 for this vendor, this 100 quantity will get updated here as the allocated quantity. Okay, so it will get allocated. Now I'm saving this purchase requisition. So I saved this purchase requisition. Okay, so now if you go to the quota arrangement, go back once, again go to the quota arrangement, select the line item, go to item. See, the allocated quantity has come as 100. Are you able to see? Because for this vendor and for this material combination, we already created a PR for 100. That is the allocated quantity. Now, based on the new scenario, now when I do the next source determination, it will change. So now what will happen? Just 1 minute. Okay, so now what should happen in the next scenario? This I will save this. Let's come out of all the screens. Okay, so here now based on the new scenario, now what will happen? What will be the quota rating for the 1101 now? 1104. What should be the quota rating? 100 divided by 40. Correct? Am I correct? 100 allocated quantity was 100 plus base quantity is 0 by quota is 40. So now the quota rating should be 100. Sorry, 100 divided by 40. 40. So what is the quota rating now? 2.5%. 2.5. Quota rating is 2.5. Whereas for others, it is 0. It is 0. So now, according to this criteria, if I try to create one more PO and do the source determination, which vendor it should select? Which vendor it should select? Vasundhara, as per this criteria, which vendor it should select? Vendor 30, vendor 1103 should select. See, what is our criteria? Vendor with minimum quota rating. Vendor with minimum quota rating is these three. So these three are same. So if vendor quota rating is same, vendor with maximum quota percentage will get selected. So system should select this one now, because this is the now with maximum. Correct? Vasundhara, are you there? Santosh, Ramakrishna, all of you?
Yes, sir.
So now in this case it should select vendor 1103. Now if I try to create one more purchase requisition, so let's test that. Okay, I'm creating one more purchase requisition, ME51N. I'm creating one more purchase requisition. What was the material? 2578. 2578. Quantity now I'll create for 200. Plant is 1000. Done. Now activate source determination. Now when I try to do the source determination, assign source of supply. Now based on the new scenario, new criteria, system by default select 1103. 1103. So I'm assigning the source of supply. See, system has selected 1103. Okay, now I'll save this purchase requisition. Now purchase requisition got saved. Now if you go to the quota arrangement, go back to quota arrangement. Again go inside. Okay, select this, select the item, go to item. See, now for the 1103, the 200 quantity got updated here. 200 quantity got updated here. Now again, the new scenario. So now what is the quota rating now? Quota rating is 200. What is the quota rating? 200. 200 divided by 30. Correct? 200 divided by 30. Allocated quantity was 200. Base quantity is anyhow 0 for all, divided by quota is 30. So for the 1103 vendor, if I go to clear, 200 divided by 30, its quota percentage is 30. So it is 6.66. So I'll maintain here 6.66. Okay, now again when I do the next prior, when I create and when I try to do source determination, that time now system will take this vendor. Because quota rating is 0 for these two vendors, same now 0 0. Now among the two vendors with maximum quota percentage is this vendor. Now system will select this 1102. It will select by default 1110. That is how the quota arrangement will work. So once you start using the quota arrangement usage, system will automatically update the quantities in the quota arrangement. This already I have shown. Okay, so now quota arrangement in MRP, that is how the quota arrangement will work. Okay, now if you want to use quota arrangement in MRP, material requirement planning, okay, in the material requirement planning we will be discussing in the next class. So if you want to use quota arrangement in MRP, in the material master record you have to activate the lot size with splitting quota. Okay, with splitting quota you need to assign. Okay, when you do this system, when you run MRP, system will automatically do the splitting, and accordingly it will allocate the vendor. It will allocate the vendor in the MRP. Okay, so these are the, so if you see, if you use lot size procedure as ES, if your requirement is 1000 pieces, okay, so initially before running MRP your quota allocated quantity is like this: 420, 310, 190, 100. for each vendor, and if you requirement is 1000, based on the percentages it will split, and your quota allocated quantity will increase accordingly. So in case of quota arrangement with splitting, in case of you use quota arrangement with splitting, system will ignore quota allocated quantity, and this quota rating also system will ignore. That time this formula will not work. When you are using quota arrangement with splitting in the MRP, this formula will not work. This formula, you see, this formula will not work. This formula will not work. Okay, so that is the meaning of it. So I'll show you where in the material master it is maintained. So if you go to the material master, MM02, if you go to the MRP1 view, plant is 1000. You see here there is a lot size. If you go to this lot size, there is a lot size called lot for lot order quantity with splitting. ES. Lot for lot order quantity with splitting. That is there. So this you need to use. So if you go to the configuration of this, I'll open one more session. SPRO. I'll go to the configuration. SAP reference IFG. Scroll down. Now you have to go to production. Okay. Go to material requirement planning. Okay. Go to here master data. Okay. Here if you go to MRP type, check MRP type. Sorry, not here. Sorry. Go to procurement proposals. Sorry. Here, if you go to planning, go to lot size calculation. Here, check lot sizing procedures. If you go inside, click on the button MRP lot size. You are supposed to use ES, lot for lot order quantity with splitting. I'm not sure, might be problem from your end. Ramakrishna, are you able to hear me? Ramakrishna, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir, I can be able to hear you.
Santosh, problem is from your end only, I think. Problem only from your end. Okay, so now if you see this lot size procedure, see there is a checkbox activated here, splitting quota. So this one you need to use. Okay, so but anyhow, when you use this, our formula will not work and system will not consider that quota allocated quantity and quota rating. It will not consider. It will just do the splitting based on these percentages. It will do the splitting only based on these percentages. That's all. This allocated quantity, this base quantity, it will not consider. Okay, so that is the quota arrangement in MRP will work. Now we will discuss on the base quantity. We will discuss about this base quantity, quota base quantity. Let's say now you are using this quota arrangement. Now you wanted to procure this material also from another vendor. So I'll put that vendor in the quota arrangement. So let's go to quota arrangement, maintain again, select this, go to item. So now the moment I enter one more vendor here, one vendor here, 1105, I'll put 10% for this vendor, new vendor, and I will make this as 30%. Now when I do this, what will happen? Now in this new scenario, what will happen? Again, this vendor quota rating will become 0, right? As per the formula. Ramakrishna, please mute.
I am unable to mute myself.
Okay, so in this new scenario, again what will happen? This vendor will again have minimum quota rating because there is no allocated quantity. Let's say assume a scenario, all these 1, 2, 3, 4, these vendors are already have some allocated quantity. Okay, now in that scenario, this new vendor will have lowest quota rating and system will try to give the quantity to new requirement to that vendor. So this vendor will take unnecessary due advantage. So to avoid that, you will give some quota based quantity. So let's say you give some quota based quantity here 100. So that time what happens, as per this formula, allocated quantity, even though you don't have allocated quantity, you have the base quantity. So because of that base quantity, he will also get some rating. also will get some rating. 1105. Let's say we are giving 10% to him. So as we maintained some base quantity, here, he will be getting some rating. So that is the use of quota base quantity. Okay, so that is the use of base quantity. Okay, so that will be used as the base quantity in the quota arrangement. Okay, so anyhow we'll keep it simple. I'll not use this. I'll delete this one as of now. I'll delete this one. I'm saving this. Okay, now the next one we will be discussing is maximum and minimum lot sizes. Okay, so in the quota arrangement, if you see, I'll save this. I'll close all the sessions. Just 1 minute. Okay. Okay, so now if you go here, quota arrangement, if I go inside again, select this item. Okay, so now here, what is the other one? Minimum quantity for splitting. Okay, one more thing. We will discuss about this minimum quantity for splitting. So when you are running MRP, you need to give the minimum quantity for splitting. Suppose if you go here in our quota arrangement, if you go here, let's go to maintain again. Now here you see minimum quantity for split. Okay, here suppose let's say if I maintain 1000, that means if your requirement is more than 1000, then only system will do the split. MRP will do the split. MRP will try to do the splitting. Suppose let's say your requirement is 1000. Let's say your requirement is 1000. Okay, there is no minimum quantity for splitting is maintained. Then that time system will do the splitting as per your requirement, as per the quota, as per the percentage. But if you put minimum quantity for split as 1200, and let's say your requirement is only 1000, then that time system will not do any split. It will select only vendor here. That's all. It will not do any splitting. It will not do any split. Here in the first case, if there is no minimum quantity for splitting is not maintained, then system will allocate the quantities. It will do the splitting. Whereas in the second case, if you maintain minimum quantity for splitting, it will, if the requirement is less than that splitting quantity, minimum splitting quantity, then it will not do split. That is the meaning of it. That minimum quantity for splitting you will maintain here. Minimum quantity for split you will maintain. That is the importance of it. Anyhow, I'm saving this. That is the importance of it. Now we will discuss on maximum and minimum lot size. Okay, so whenever you are running MRP, you can in the quota arrangement you can maintain maximum lot size or you can maintain minimum lot size also. So if you maintain maximum lot size, as 250, let's say your requirement is 500. Then system create PR 250 for only for 250, and if the requirement is 500, okay, now here in this case the maximum quota is for this vendor. Okay, so system is trying to create one more PR for the same vendor. So but I don't want to do that. Because my maximum lot size itself is 250. More than 250 I should not allow. I don't want to procure from that vendor. So that time you will maintain this 1x indicator. So if that is if you maintain this one, 250 quantity purchase requisition will be created for one vendor A, and the remaining 250 will be created for vendor B. Because we maintain this 1x. I will show you that. It will be maintained here. If you go to item, this is our. You maintain maximum lot size and you want at a time one PR, you will activate this checkbox. Let me go to maintain. You go to maintain. You maintain the maximum lot size here, and you activate this checkbox. 1x procurement, only 1x procurement. You activate this checkbox. So that is how you maintain the maximum lot sizes. So this one you will be using only in MRP. Okay, now the next one is minimum lot size. Okay, so you can maintain the minimum lot size in the quota arrangement. Let's say you maintain minimum lot size as 300. Your requirement is 250. Your requirement is 250. Even though requirement is 250, as a minimum lot size is 300, system will generate a PR for 300. As a minimum lot size is 300. So that minimum lot size you can maintain here. You can maintain here. Minimum lot sizes you can maintain here. Okay. So that is the use of maximum and minimum lot sizes in the MRP. Okay. So that is the one. Now the next one is maximum quantity without splitting quota. Okay, without splitting quota. I'll tell you what is this the meaning of it. Okay, so let's say you maintain maximum quantity as 200. Maximum quantity as 200. Sorry, 2000. 2000. That means from this vendor, I have to procure maximum as 2000. Maximum as 2000. Let's say my requirement is 800. My requirement is 800. Okay, so when my requirement is 800, what system will do is when my requirement is 200, I already system will first allocate the vendor B for that 800. Okay, now what happens is, now let's say now maximum quantity is 2000. Now we already ordered 800 for this vendor. 800 for this vendor. Okay, now when I do the next allocation, system will select the vendor A for 800. Why? Because the maximum quantity is 2500, out of which we already ordered 800 for the vendor B. So now the maximum quantity is 2500, so it will select the vendor E. So that is the maximum quantity without splitting quota. Okay, so that is the meaning of it. Now the next one is source determination in MRP run. So this is the most important. In the interviews they will ask this question. So when you do source determination in MRP run, how system will do the source determination, on what basis? So whenever you are running MRP, system will do the source determination first considering quota arrangement. It will check for the quota arrangement. If the quota arrangement is maintained, according to the quota arrangement, it will assign the sources. Okay, now if the quota arrangement is not there, then system will go for source list with MRP indicator. So this is the order of priority. In which system will search for the do the source determination in MRP run, during the MRP run. Okay, now the next one is source determination outside of MRP run. So when you are doing source determination without MRP run, like the way which we discussed, we did in the purchase requisition. In the purchase requisition, when you do source determination, when you trigger source determination manually, how system does is, first it will search for the quota arrangement, whether any quota arrangement is there or not. If it is there, it will use. If quota arrangement is not there, then system will go for search for the source list. If source list is not there, then system will search for any outline agreements like contract or any scheduling agreement. It will search. Now, if outline agreements are not there, then system search for info record. In the info record, if any regular vendor is there, it will be assigning that regular vendor. We'll discuss about that regular vendor also. Okay, so this is the order of priority in which system will do the source determination outside of MRP. That means manual. Already we discussed all these things: info record, outline agreement, source list, quota arrangement, all those things we discussed already. Okay, now the next one is regular vendor. Let's assume a scenario: you don't have a source list. For a particular material. Now for the same material, you have 3 vendors. Let's say there are 3 vendors which info records are already created. Now among these 3 vendors, I want to make a vendor as a fixed vendor. In that case, you go for regular vendor. So that vendor you activate as a regular vendor. So let's say if you have activated vendor B as a regular vendor, then in the source determination, system will automatically take that vendor into the purchase requisition as a source determination. System will activate, by default will select. In case of if your source list and quota arrangement is not there, that is what called regular vendor. I'll show you where it is maintained in the info record. So if you go to the info record, I'll go to info record. Let me save this quota arrangement. Okay, so let's go to the info record. ME11. Okay, I'll go to any info record. Let's say 25781101. I'll go to that info record, change mode. Okay, what is a vendor? 1101 and the material is 2578. 2578 is my material. Enter. Okay, now here, if you see there is a checkbox, regular vendor. You see this, you activate regular vendor. So once you activate this one, system among this all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vendors, it will select that 1101 by default. Okay, because this has been made as a regular vendor. Okay, provided you don't have no source list and no quota arrangement. No quota arrangement. If you don't have this, if you have only PIRs, multiple vendors PIRs, but from that multiple vendor PIRs, I want to make one vendor as a fixed vendor. Then you will make it as a regular vendor in the PIR. That is what I showed you. Here, you will make this as a regular vendor. So if you do that, in the purchase requisition system by default, when you do the source determination, it will take that vendor. Okay, so to activate this regular vendor functionality, you have to do some customization. Okay, so what is that customization? Okay, so I'll go to configuration again. SPRO. Go to SPRO, SAP reference IMG. Scroll down. Go to materials management, purchasing. Okay. Go to purchase info record. Okay, regular vendor purchase requisition. So purchase info record, quota arrangement. Source list, shopping cart, purchase requisition. Define tolerance, contract. Purchase order not here. Here, define regular vendor. You see here, define regular vendor. If you go here you will activate. For the plan 1000, if you want to use this regular vendor functionality, you activate this checkbox. This is what you have to do. Okay, this regular vendor functionality will work provided you don't have source list and quota arrangement created. Only you have multiple PIRs, purchase info records. From that, if you want to select anyone, if you want to make one vendor as a fixed vendor, then you will activate that vendor as a regular vendor in the PIR. That's what it will do. Okay, now the next one is blocking the vendors. Okay, so the vendors can be blocked. Either entirely in the purchase organization levels as we discussed in the vendor master class. This you can do, or you can block it in source list for a particular vendor, or in the quota. Once you block it here or here in the quota arrangement, system will throw the error. It will not allow you to create. Then it will not allow you to create any purchase order, contract, scheduling agreement, or request for quotation. So once you block the vendor at XK05, which we discussed, vendor blocking, it will do that, and system will not allow you to create source list, quota arrangement, and all the purchasing documents. This is how you block the vendor. And even in the source list, you can block a vendor for a material. So I'll show you that in the source list how to do. So if you go to the source list, V01. If you go inside, you want to block this vendor after certain period, 1102. Just click on this checkbox. So now in the source determination, this vendor will not be considered. This is how you do the blocking. This is how you do the blocking. Okay, that's okay. Done. So that is how you do the blocking of the vendors. So once you do it XK05, which we discussed, try to recollect our vendor master classes, blocking the vendor through XK05. XK05. If you do this block or unblock vendor, okay, if you block here all purchasing organizations, all company codes, all everything, if you do this block, the moment you do that, it will not allow you to create any further source list, quota arrangement, or whatever the purchasing documents. Okay. Now, as I said earlier, a vendor can be blocked in a source list also. Instead of blocking it entire vendor, you can block a vendor. You can block a vendor for a particular material. For a particular material. That means we are blocking this vendor for this material. So once you do that in the source list, it will not allow you to create purchase order for that vendor for that particular material. Okay, and even you cannot enter that vendor in the quota arrangement. Quota arrangement, and it will not be considered in the source determination. It will not be considered in the source determination. So what I am trying to refer here is you can block a vendor totally you can block a vendor, or you can block a vendor in the source list level for a particular material. For a particular material. That means here this vendor is blocked for this material. This material. Okay. So that is how the blocking of vendors in the source list. Okay.